Hello, I just finished a quick draft run of Eldraine with Boros Knights. I had 7-2 result, and I will just start another. I wasn't really happy with that previous deck, but it turned out good enough. And then I also considered first picking this Enchanted Carriage, and I decided on bake into a pie, but here I don't have such a good common. Trapped in the Tower isn't as powerful, it's still quite nice, but not this power level. And this is still the best common, I think. Perhaps Opt is nice, but not the first pick. Maybe this Reaper is some competition, but still, I think this one is also pretty cool. But Trapped in the Tower is the best common here. The Magic Mirror is, if I remember correctly, it's unplayable. So very slow card advantage engine. I don't think blue needs such cards. It has some other options that are also quite slow. At least some of them give you card advantage, but you just have to work for them because you don't you often can't afford to lose position on board, tempo, and this is just too much of this. So it doesn't seem appealing. This is good uncommon. It's a build around, I think, because you need some food for it to be good, and this is quite nice in Knights decks, but I think this is Bognaughty. I would take Bognaughty over this trainer, I think, but this is just good in most decks, colorless. So this is the first pick I will almost certainly play, and this have to find their archetype, not only their colors, but this should be supported with food, and this with other knights. So these cards leave me very open, and these two not really. I can stay open, but I would have to just ditch these cards, not play them in my deck in many cases. Okay, another carriage. This one is nice, but it's not that power level. These white commons also seem good, but the best competition for the second carriage would be Scorching Dragonfire, which is I think a premium removal in this set, so it's very appealing. And I think still having two is very nice, but the second one isn't worth as much as the first, so I'll take this Dragonfire. Okay, so the best two cards here are these uncommons. Nothing is competing with them. So food. Food is a theme of Golgari combination, black-green, and food gain you life, and still black has some gain life options besides food. Green probably as well, but I don't remember many at the moment. This is also very good, maybe even better, and it fits my Scorching Dragonfire. Maybe it doesn't fit this carriage that well, because carriage is I think better in decks that are a little slower than aggro knights, but still carriage can be a nice high end in such decks. I think I'm gonna stay with this. So I was killed with all that glitters in the 9th round. No, in the 8th round, when I was going 6-1 and was playing for the first time for my 7th win in the previous draft. I still don't love this card. I think it's a Azorius archetype card, which is about enchantments and artifacts, and I don't want to. If I would try to stay in this Boros Knights archetype that I'm heading for with my 2nd and 3rd pick. I don't want to get out of my way to enable this with enchantments and artifacts, even though I have enchanted carriage right now. I'm not very happy picking this card anyway. I don't want to play this as well. Flutter Fox is playable I think in Knights as well, but still it's not a second drop of choice, and it's weak for pick 4. I don't have to marry to this archetype, Boros Knights, or maybe I can stretch to Mardu with Smitten Sword Master, but it doesn't combine very well with Fireborn Knight. The color is quite prohibitive to play a black creature that isn't that great. It's a good card on its own right, and I can be Rakdos Knights and maybe ditch this knight if I'm not red enough in this combination, so it could be a nice pick anyway. This is a card to consider as well. Golden Egg is good in many decks and is colorless, so it's another card to consider, and I can be Izzet draw 2 in this draft, so I can just ditch this Fireborn Knight. So I think this booster is weak enough that I can consider all the glitters, which could fit my Boros deck if I find enough number of artifacts and or enchantments that I want to play. So I can take it as a speculation probably, or maybe we'll end up in Azorius anyway, even if I have these 2 picks. The safe pick could be Golden Egg, but it's not very good in aggressive decks. It's a card that fits many decks, I think, but not aggressive ones. I'm not sure what I want to take here. Nothing seems that appealing. This would leave me the most open, and this fits my picks the best, because I'm not really looking forward to play Flutterfox in this deck. If I find enough artifacts and enchantments, I would be more happy with all the glitters than with Flutterfox. So this or this, I think. Okay, let's take this one. So Rakdos Knights are still an option. Smitten Swordmaster, I just passed it, but maybe it will come back. It's not that great, and I don't have to miss it that much. So this is a fine option. This isn't great even in Boros Knights. I would prefer to take this, but this card is much better, and I already have a good red card, and this can see play even in Rakdos Knights, I think, if mana base is supportive enough, if red is my dominant color. So this is quite nice. If I was sure of my archetype, that Boros Knights will be my archetype, I would take just this, but it's too early for that, so I don't have to play Fireborn Knight. Maybe I will end up in Rakdos Artifacts, and none of these cards is that great, so picking the Signpost uncommon at 5th pick is I think a good idea. So if Rakdos, I could take this, but still I don't have to marry to this lance, because Fireborn Knight is good enough to pull into Boros, and I think Youthful Knight is much better than Smitten Swordmaster. This and this are also good options, but I'll take a very good 2-drop, I think. This is very nice. Nothing for my archetype here, so I'll just take the best card in my opinion. Opt is also good, but this Paladin is I think is better. Maybe blue will turn out to be open. And I was quite happy with this ritual after all. I didn't want to play it that much, but it turned out to be quite cool. But still, I think blue is quite promising now, and maybe I will be Azorius. Artifacts and enchantments after all, and all that glitters could be very good in this deck. So this checks for artifacts and enchantments, but I prefer Tomb Raider for now. I have a 2-drop that maybe fits Knights better, but it's still good in Azorius, keeping the ground safe, and maybe This won't be used for attacking, but for blocking. But this just has first strike, not first strike when attacking, or first strike on your turn, like some of the newer cards. Okay, I think Tomb Raider here. Maybe this blue, after all. I won't miss Prized Griffin that much, even if I end up as a Boros Knights deck. And this is quite cool too, but it's the only good green card that I considered, if I remember correctly. So I don't see myself going into green. It's playable, but not very appealing, and if I turn out to be Knights after all, I'm quite happy that this came back, because I considered taking this card, and I still can see myself ending up with in Boros Knights or Aragdos Knights. So this is a good pick. So I kind of put my leg into blue, and maybe it will pay off, but still Boros Knights seem to be my primary plan. So I'll take this Shining Armor, and I don't think this is worth it, but I don't know if I want to play anything from here. So if I turn out to be this Azorius deck, checking for artifacts and enchantments, maybe this, but I really don't like this card, but it may be a thing to consider. So out of these three cards, this one is the most promising, but still quite unpromising. And I got this Blow Your House down anyway, so I can feel my aggressive deck if I have to with this. So this is quite nice, but as I said, green didn't seem open, so, and the black didn't seem open. I can see myself in any two-color combination in Jeskai, but I don't think I can take this and count on pivoting into Celestia or multicolor green deck. But I have very nice options here. Joust, Youthful Knight, and Scorching Dragonfire, and 4 knights already. So Dragonfire is better than Joust if you're not knights or don't have enough knights, but if you have a lot of knights, I think Joust becomes even better than this Dragonfire. So maybe I will. I'm not sure, because I can start locking myself into this knight's archetype, be it Boros or Rakdos, but I don't think I have only one reason to be Rakdos and a lot of reasons to be Boros. Or maybe just 2 good reasons, Youthful Knight and Fireborn Knight, because these are just fillers, and this we'll see about that. If I have enough artifacts and enchantments, it can be a good reason too. But if I don't end up to be knights and just be some easy deck or something, I can miss this Dragonfire. It's a very good card and probably more. Not probably, but just more. More flexible, perhaps. Okay, I'll take a risk here and just assume that I can be nice. This one is also pretty nice. So one of these two maybe will come back to me. I don't count on Dragonfire. It would be a very nice surprise, but I can't count on this. But one of these two cards can come back, and I'll try to pick enough knights, and I think Boros Knights is the way to go now. Still, maybe I don't want to pick mediocre knights over cards that are much better. So here I have this card is good. This is mediocre knight, but I can consider barrage or just this aggressive 2-drop that isn't a knight, but this Usher to safety is a nice option to have as well. And, save something from removal without losing a card, still having a good creature to cast. And barrage, I have a nice 5-drop here that can be played in knights as well. So and I have Joust and Dragonfire, so I'm not that high on taking this barrage. Perhaps I will take this, and it's a common. I can get another chance at picking this, and this as well. I think can be picked later, so I'll go with uncommon that isn't a knight, but still a very nice creature for Boros Knight's deck. So I like this one. Trapped in the Tower is also good. I would prefer it to Barrage, which is quite expensive for aggressive deck, and this is pacifism-like effect, which is nice in aggressive decks, cheaply preventing creatures from blocking or even races, even from attacking in close races. But I could really make use of this one. I fear that by passing this, I will send a signal that White Knight deck may be open if bots pick up such signals. I'm not sure they do, but if they do, I can be in trouble, and this doesn't send a signal because it's just good in many white decks, and maybe I'll get another chance at this because it's a common, and I can speculate on this coming back, but if it doesn't, I'll be quite unhappy, and I can get another chances of picking commons. That's why I'll pass this barrage and pick between these two, but maybe the safe way here. So I'll take a card that I could really miss. It could come back, but if it could come back, maybe there's a chance that one of these cards will come back as well. Okay, so no good card for me here. I don't want to play this. So sacrificing the land sucks. I have some mana sinks here and it's quite expensive creature vehicle that I see myself playing at the moment. So no, this one I don't like it as well. Maybe I will pick this, but I don't like it. I could take Smitten Swordmaster, but I don't see myself going into Rakdos Knights after picking this and having some nice white cards already. So perhaps I will take one of these red uncommon cards. I want Trail of Crumbs is quite nice for a 4th pick, but still I don't see myself pivoting into green. So maybe I have 2 4-drops, maybe I will lack bigger creatures, but still quite unappealing this Eldraine. I don't want to play this. So maybe I'll be desperate to have some more cheap removal and I can sacrifice lands most of the time and maybe I will hit some red creatures from time to time as well. So I think from this booster that doesn't offer me anything good, I'll take melee as the card that I can see myself playing after all, even though I don't want to for now. Okay, so I don't see myself getting into an adventure archetype. I have only this, and it's not a card you want. It's not a spell you want to copy. I think most of the time it would have to be a pretty weird situation, and you have to have many adventure cards for it to be worth a slot in your deck. So I'll take this. I'm not really high on this card. It's not a knight, and both options are the combat trick option is quite expensive for what it does, and the creature option is, if we take a look here, we see that it's almost at least 1 mana too expensive, because this has 2/1 stats, is a knight, and even leaves something when it dies, and it's just a vanilla 2/1 for 2 mana. But having both is good enough, I think. It's still not great, but not bad either. So I have this aura that checks for artifacts, and I have 5 artifacts, but only this one and maybe Shining Armors will see play. So I don't think this will have power worth putting it in my deck, and this can be pretty nice. From night creatures, 6 are humans, so that's not good news for this, but still I can pick some non-human knights or just non-humans later, and it's good enough. It's a good enough aggressive creature. I think this is also good enough knight. It's not great because I would prefer my 4-drop to have more power, but still it's quite nice. And this also was a good enough filler in my previous deck, so I can accept it, even though it's quite bad. Nothing too great here anyway, so I'll just take a card in my color that can be put in my deck, maybe some big flyers. Is some option to close out games, and I'm happy that Lonesome Unicorn came back, so that's a nice addition. Jousting Dummy is also good enough, being a knight. Probably fleeing for a similar reason Red Cup Melee was taken. Maybe I'll be desperate for removal or spells to close out games. Not that desperate to play 2 flanks, I think, but here we are. Okay, so I could take the second all that glitters, but they support each other, but I'm still not sure I want to play this effect, and it will start taking many slots in my deck to play both and support them. And I can just take Rimrock Knight and be very happy with this, having a good 2-drop Knight instead of filler. I'm not saying I'm cutting Jousting Dummy, but let's compare it to this filler 2-drop Knight, and this is just a good 2-drop Knight. So I could use one ritual because I was quite happy with this in my previous deck, but for now I prefer a knight. Maybe this ritual will be available later. This is a good card, but not for this archetype, obviously. And the second Rimrock is welcome in my deck. I don't see better cards for me here. So this is good, this is good, and I'm not taking the best card from this booster, but I don't want to pivot at this point. Boros Knights are coming together well enough. But I could make use of this Inspiring Veteran, I think it is called, this Boros Knight's Lord. And here I have a pack with nothing good for me. I don't want to play Crystal Sleeper and Fortifying Provisions, so I think I'll just take an uncommon. From here I won't play it anyway. Now I have many 2-drops, so I don't think I want to play Flutter Fox, but maybe let's check. If I play this All That Glitters, I have 1 enchantment, and from these 7 artifacts I think I want to play Carriage for now and Dummy. And perhaps about 1 Shining Armor, not both. So that's not a lot, because if it would fly most of the time it could be a nice addition, but if it flies rarely, it is not. I have better 2-drops and I prefer Merchant, because or even this one. I have I have a place for some 3-drops. I will only play 2 now, so a 3-drop would be welcome, but it doesn't fit my deck all that well. Maybe it's nice to have some card selection, but the stats are pretty underwhelming, so maybe I can use just a Knight and another 1-drop here and focus on being very aggressive. So it's a little late to start gathering 7 dwarves, I think, and I have enough good 2-drops, so this or this. 12 knights is allowed for this trebuchet, and I just have hole in 3 mana. And as 4 mana, as I have 1 copy here, 2 of this, 1 here, so 4 copies. I could play 5 4-mana spells, so it's not 4 copies are not too many or enough. But only 2 3-drops are more it is a more alarming number, but still, will this do a good enough job, or do I prefer just another knight, even if it's not one of the best knights? So this is another knight's enabler, and this is a knight payoff, some rich damage, and with 12 knights already, but 11 maybe, because I want to play this paladin, and I think this is the only knight I picked but won't play because it's not in my colors. But even if with 11 knights this will do a decent job. So two unblockable damage a turn is nice. 1 is not that great, but it will be 2 quite many times, I think. And it's an artifact if I get to this All That Glitters synergies. So it's a tough one, but I think for now I'll take a 3-drop. Another 3-drop I'm happy to play. So here we have a more interesting choice, but I'll take this one, Ritual, I think, so to make my creatures better. The second trebuchet isn't that appealing, and Flutter Fox still I supported it a little better with this first trebuchet, but my deck will need something like this, I think. And, in my last deck I played 2 copies and it was cool enough, I think. So let's go this route again. Another knight. Nothing for me here. And I don't want to play any of these cards. Maybe I can take this. This is the most promising, but I still want to cut it. Okay, so thanks for watching this video. I will build my deck in the next one, so see you then.